Hello and welcome to Heartrepreneur TV. I am your co-host, Velma Gallant, and I'm so excited you are here today. We have a fantastic show for you today. We're talking about the best day to start was yesterday. The second best day is today. So go for it. And we have Matteo and Renata here today. They are business coaches specializing in coaching businesses that can thrive, scale, and grow. Out of their business, they are both obsessed with sport, travel, and adventure and cooking, but only Matteo. And more importantly, they love to empower others to push their comfort zone and go for it without holding anything back. Welcome to the show, Matteo and Renata. I hope I said your names right. I forgot to ask.
Thank you very much,
Thank you,
Velma. That's a
Velma.
pleasure to be here.
It's great to be here with you. Thank you for having us.
So, we people talk about how, we've heard it before. The best day to start was yesterday and the second best day is today. And I agree with you guys 100%. So how do you guys go about supporting your clients to get started and actually move?
That's a very good question.
That's a very good question.
And
yeah, go for it.
I go first. We need to agree here. Who goes first?
It's always a negotiation here.
It's always a negotiation. Velma, for us, we truly believe that you can have the best idea, you can have money to invest, you can be the smartest person in the world, but if there is no execution, nothing's going to happen. So execution is actually the secret ingredient to make anything work, really. And imperfect actions, right? Because I think that a lot of people want to wait for the perfect moment, for then when all the stars are aligned, and this is never going to happen. So the way that we support our students and our clients to go and take action is, first of all, encouraging them to take imperfect action. So it's like not waiting for when everything is perfectly said and done, but when we already have a good idea and a good message, and we are already in the position to take that first step. And then putting yourself out there, what's going to happen is you start to receive feedback. And feedback is essential, if not fundamental,
yes,
for the next step to happen.
Absolutely.
But you're never going to know that unless you do the first one, right?
And look, it's very simple, but it's not easy. It's very simple to say and to explain it, but it's not always easy to apply and to implement this. One of my favorite quotes, Velma, is, if all it took was knowledge, we would all be billionaires with six-pack abs. And I think it's so simple and deep, this quote. I had a teacher at school, in university. And I remember going to have a meeting with her. And during the meeting, I kept repeating to her, oh yeah, I thought, but I didn't do it. Oh yeah, but I thought that. And she just kept repeating, just do it. Just do it. And this really stayed in my mind for a long time. And I think, and I'm a true believer, that when you do and take action consistently, that is the secret of building your confidence. Because that's it. You take action, you get better, you improve, you see the results, you build your confidence, and it's this snowball that keeps growing and growing and growing. And what do you need to do? Get yourself around the right people, because you're not going to be around the people that are lower than you. Get around the people that are ahead of you, that are more successful than you, that made more money than you, that already achieved the things that you want to achieve. And more importantly, the environment is all about the environment. What environment do you live in, and how do you set yourself to take action every single day? So
there is something, Velma, just to wrap this up about taking action, which is when we starting anything, we have the same amount of hope and fear, right? We hope that something is going to work, and we are scared to death that thing may work or may not work. However, when we take action towards that thing that you have hope and fear, what happens is your hopes increases because you start to see clarity on the journey, and your fear diminishes. So the best way for you to actually understand if what you're going to do is going to work or not, and most importantly, get out of that fear zone is really to take action. And
the best day to start was yesterday.
and the best start today. Exactly, the best day to start is yesterday.
I resonate so much with what you say. Actually, it was about 15 years ago. I had submitted something to go into, one of those big books that's got everybody's little stories in it. I can't even remember the name of the book. I got about 6 copies back there. But the name of my little insert was "Don't Think, Just Do It." So I'm right there with you guys on that. And I love what you're sharing about how the action actually increases the hope and decreases the fear, because not being in action, that mind gets on that hamster wheel. And yeah, the fear ends up growing more when you're not in action versus the other way around. So that really makes a lot of sense. And I also liked what you guys were talking about with respect to taking imperfect action, because I think what you said was that's what gives you the feedback, so you can, shift and adjust as you keep moving forward. So that made a lot of sense to me as well.
100%, yeah.
So tell me a little bit about, because what I think you guys do as well is you guys help some online businesses start from scratch. So that would be what you were talking about with taking an idea and then moving it forward, rather than, because I know you guys help people grow a current business, but how do you go about supporting those ones that are really starting? I know what you're inviting them to take action. Are there some specific actions they can take?
Yeah, and particularly for businesses and people that are starting from scratch, I think particularly for those, they had this strong belief that there is the secret. Everybody wants to know a secret, like a magic secret pill that is
There is a pill that's gonna solve all the problems in the
business
world.
to Mars and back in 7 days, right?
Mhm.
And I always say, if becoming a doctor, becoming an engineer, becoming a lawyer takes 10 years, why would it be any different with a business? Why would it be they make 6 figures in a week? Why would it be any different? Why would it be any different than becoming a musician or an athlete? You have to learn. You need to apply the skills. You need to practice. You need to take imperfect. Sometimes we take so much imperfect actions that is really imperfect and becomes funny.
But again, people can relate to that, because I think, Velma, what happens out there is that I think there is this perception of speed for certain things, achievement of results in certain ways that I think people start to get a little bit in their heads that if it's not happening to them, there's something wrong about them. And ultimately, we go back into what are the problem they are solving, right? One of the things that we really talk to everybody that are starting from scratch that wants to work with us or are interested to know more about is, okay, the first thing we have to be clear on is we are solving a real, tangible, measurable problem. Because if you come with fluff, with clouds in the sky, it's really hard, first of all, to explain.
To sell.
Second of all, to sell. And third, and most important, to connect with whoever's going to be your audience for this. So we need to make sure that you're solving a tangible, measurable problem, that you're providing a transformation to your client or the person that is going through your service, your coaching program, your business. They are going to be, there is a before and after for this person after work, before working with you and after working with you. And we are providing solving real world problems, right? If there is too much fluff around, and it's even difficult for the person to explain to us what they are doing, let alone explaining to a potential, customer of them. So I think, Velma, in this journey that we've been through, a couple of things we realized is, first of all, the first thing that actually puts people, especially starting from scratch, to put themselves out there and start are themselves more than anything else, right? Is the voice saying that it's not good enough? I'm a huge imposter syndrome. We actually
fear of failure,
fear of judgment, from other people. They're gonna say about us, or what they're gonna say about me doing this. But most importantly is coming with a real, tangible, measurable solution for something that you are transforming and impacting somebody in the other side of the road, right? Otherwise, it's Yeah, it's a really
You have a very expensive hobby. You
a
don't
very
have a
expensive
business.
hobby. Yeah.
And I think that comes down to, really getting clear on who you're serving. Are you going to be a generalist or are you going to be a specialist? It's like the
Right.
difference between the GP, the general practitioner, and this, the specialist and a brain surgeon or, a heart, surgeon. So it's being a specialist in one thing, in one field, because at the end of the day, you need to build your authority in the field, right? That's the thing online that
Yeah.
it's not like opening. I always say it's not like opening a coffee shop that you are on the street and everybody's coming in front of you. You
And-
need to put yourself out there.
No, so and there is another point that is we need to extract what is this unique about the person. What is unique about Velma, Renata, Matteo, Maria, Jose, John, that is gonna make you different from what you are doing. You can be doing the same thing. There is so many people there doing the same things that we are doing, but we connect with our audience in different ways, right?
Mhm.
So of course, the people that are going to relate to us are the people that connect with how we are. The people that connect with you is the people that connect on how you are. So this is really important to take this unique flavor, otherwise can be very deflating. Of course, if I'm going to launch the next coconut milk, how many coconut milk? I don't know why coconut milk came to my head. But coconut milks are out there. So what can you do that makes you different from all the others? And this is where, of course, market research is such an important part. People take it for granted because it touches an uncomfortable zone of needing to be talking to other people, needing
Spending
to
time gathering information.
spending time getting the information, going to phone calls, and this touch base is uncomfortable. However, it's super important.
And that's why imperfect action comes back in, right? Taking imperfect
Right.
actions, getting out there. You're never gonna know what the person on the other side of the street wants to have for lunch unless you go there and ask them.
Yeah.
So you need to go and ask and talk to people and understand their language, the deepest fears, the biggest, the pains that they are
Yeah.
going through in a very deep level, as well as the biggest future desires. But the only way is really talking to them. And I think a lot of people are always craving and looking for this magic pill, the magic secret to make, the six-figure business, without realizing that you have to go through the journey, taking imperfect actions, but still going step by step.
Yeah.
and
Right.
really crafting this. Yeah.
There was a lot of really juicy stuff in there. I love how you're bringing up about people wanting that magic pill. They're wanting the instant business and the instant success, and because we hear a lot about overnight success and all of that kind of stuff, and the requirement that it really is a process. Like, I know I've been doing a personal growth. I've been involved in the personal growth industry for almost 20 years, right? And yeah, I've had those ups and downs and those learnings and everything like that. The other thing that I really love about what you were talking about is when we walk in with that voice in our head, which I think is why so many of us want that magic pill, because they really want it to shut up that voice.
Yeah, so true.
Yeah.
Right?
Velma, what happens is perceptions and assumptions, perceptions and assumptions. We see things online these days that we perceive the way that whatever is my background, whatever I am exposed to, and I assume that something is going on without even going there and asking. So you assume things. So you see certain businesses online, or you see certain coaches or certain people doing business, or the same business that you are at, and you assume it's easy. You assume it happened overnight. This is all assumptions. You never go there and say, hey,
Mhm.
is this really happening? What is going on behind the scenes? Can you tell me the story behind the story? So these assumptions can kill really like dreams and desires to do things, because when you think that you are alone, that you're the only one going through certain things, you feel that is this personal to me?
Yeah.
And it's not. Everybody's going through a journey. We just go through a silent journey, right? Not everybody shares the hurdles, the struggles.
And I think it keeps activating the reticular activating system that is pointing out, you see, I told you you're going to fail. I told you you were going to lose money. I told you they were going to judge you. I told you you were going to look down in front of everybody. And we keep having this thing, and it comes back to mindset again, right? This is why mindset is so important in business, because mindset is not huluru magic stuff from the magician. Is really getting strong on this and be strong with emotional, having emotional intelligence to really connect with people and creating a bond with people. So important in business. It's huge, particularly when you start.
Yeah.
Well, and I think there's a lot of different layers to the mindset as well. One of the other things that you talked about was you talked about measurable solutions and generalist versus specialist. And I think especially the measurable solutions is where a lot of people get hung up on. And I think often when they're there, it's because their mindset is not with them on it. They don't have the confidence to say, I can do this for you. And so that's their mindset on it. The other thing that I really liked with respect to the generalist and the specialist is, I mean, it reminds me of how, well, who do you help? Well, I can help anyone. Well, it might be true, but how do you talk to everyone? You can't. You cannot talk to everyone all at once because nobody's ears are tuned into everyone. I'm tuned into me and my needs. I'm not tuned into everyone. So does that sound accurate to you?
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think going back to what you said at the beginning, when a lot of people don't have the confidence that they can deliver the result, well, first of all, you need to go back and become confident on that and do that yourself so that you can walk the talk and build that authority. And when you have that authority, you have more stories, you have a lot more insights to share, you're a lot more excited and enthusiastic, and you have a lot more fulfillment because you were able to overcome that yourself. And when you do that and you see someone else achieving the same because of your help, is a lot more rewarding, there's a lot more fulfillment, right?
No, 100%. And the other thing is talking to everybody is talking to nobody. When somebody come to us as well with this super, I can help everybody, we say we need to niche this down. We need to go do maybe 3 steps down to this. For many different reasons, you talk straight to the person, you connect better with people, you have actually less work, in terms of, because you're talking straight into the person that actually is your best client. At the end of the day, is the person that you work best with. So all we recommend is when somebody comes with this very broad idea, is one of the ways for you to niche this down is think about that one person that you work already, if they already work with somebody that you deliver amazing results, they love you and you love to work with them. Let's find more of this person, right? Yes. So let's write about what are the fear, the pains, the desires, the pleasures, what are the outcomes you're providing to them, and let's find more of them. Certainly, there is enough people in the planet like this person that can give you business. So let's try to find this out. Yeah.
Absolutely. Like the visual that I was getting while you were talking about that was like going up to one house and talking to that house versus trying a megaphone from space. Right? And nobody's going to hear you from space on a megaphone, but if you're standing in front of one house, they're going to hear you.
So 100%. True. So true. I have the example always, Velma. I say if you're at the train station and there's a lot of people, it's crowded. Imagine this train station full of people, and instead of say, hey, everybody, nobody's gonna give a damn. But if you say, hey, I need a doctor right now, you're gonna get a doctor. You're gonna get a doctor there. Someone's gonna say, hey, I need to come and jump in because I need to provide some help. And I know a lot of people get funny about this stuff, talking about money, but you're building a business, you're not building an expensive hobby. If you are a specialist in one niche, you can also significantly increase your price. You will have less people. They're paying a higher price for your product.
But you deliver the results.
And more resources.
They are happy about your service.
More resources.
More resources. You're going to have to help this person. And this is the chain reaction, right? They started to roll more and more. So ultimately, in business, and you absolutely know that has to be a win-win, right? Both of the sides has to be winning. Otherwise, it don't have a business. Yeah,
it's absolutely true. I was speaking with someone the other day, and the conversation was around, if you're not taking care of yourself and making sure that you are taken care of, you are actually going to be serving others while you are in the fight, flight, freeze, or fawn mode, and you cannot be your 100% service from that place. You're not giving them all, you're actually ripping them off.
I
It's
couldn't
so
agree
true. It's so
more.
true. And you're touching a button that for us is very important, like being in a good state related to health, really. I'm recently, I started to do a lot more, spend more time in reading and doing research about, vitality, health, where the medical research is going. There is a Dr. David Sinclair that I follow a lot, and it's all related to, put yourself in a peak state, because you're taking care of your body, your sleep, your nutrition, your exercising.
Yeah.
And it's so important, because at the end of the day, it's the way that you show up with the people, not just in business, but with the people out there. And if you want to be a leader, you need to be in a good state, because you can have all the money in the world, but if you are always living in anger and frustration, your life is anger and frustration. So we need to do something about that, right?
Exactly. And I think that points to, again, what the mindset is one of your foundational things. It's kind of like the rock you're building on.
Yes.
Rock you're building your business on. So one of the things that you guys do talk about a bit, and I know we've touched on it briefly with respect to the generalist versus specialist, is finding your own voice in a noisy market. How do you support people with that?
Yeah. So there is one thing that I think it's actually very hard for us to do ourselves. But this is where reaching out to people that know you is very helpful. There is an exercise actually that we do where we ask the clients, in case our student, to ask people around them about their strengths and weakness, because what you think is your strength, or usually what you think is your weakness, is the greatest strength, right? And we have to work around those values. So understanding what are your values, and this is like when you are going to a job interview and somebody said to you, what is your strength and weakness, and ask you out of the batch, and you don't know, because it's really hard for us to acknowledge what we are good and bad at, right? Let's put it this way.
So I had that question at interviews, and I always say my strength is I like to talk. And what's your weakness? I like to talk.
I like to talk. So often, actually, what we think is our weakness is actually what makes us, is actually the opposite. And this is where it's really valuable to ask people around you. There is this exercise with some questions that we ask them to send some emails or call if they want to. Some people within the network, but people that really know you, right? Not anybody, but people that really know who you are. And to give their feedback of you. I still remember when I did my exercise, and I sent to a lot of friends. Even what in the beginning said, "Oh, Renata talks too much," and sometimes I think this is a problem, just like you said in your job interview. And I would say that the 15 people that I sent, between my family, friends, and all kind of different in my family realm, let's put it in this way, they said that the fact that I was talking too much made them feel connected, related, and it was a strength, was something that they liked. So I said, okay, so if this is something that I thought could be something weak, like, oh my God, this girl doesn't stop talking. Actually, for them was what was making them feeling connected and relating. So I said, I have to use this in my business. So this has to be part of what I do. I have to work with this thing, So this is one of the ways that you can tap in or get out or extract from your values or from things that you already do. And understand where you're really good at, so you can use that thing into what you're going to create. So especially if it's a personal quality, let's do a strength. Yeah.
And I think, from my perspective, it's also like really finding your voice. Again, it comes down to imperfect actions, because you need to try and test different things, right? For me, I find my own voice when I'm in my comfort zone, and when I'm in my comfort zone, when I'm in my cycling gear. So a lot of my videos online, a lot of my content, I'm in my cycling gear, and I'm expressing myself, in the way that I feel more comfortable with. For some people, it might be podcasting. Some people might be writing. Some people might be taking videos. But really finding something that works for you and is unique to you, that is different from, copying. There's a lot of copying online these days. A lot of people churning contents and constantly recreating the same thing. And finding your own voice is a process, like everything, right?
which what he said is not, there is nothing wrong, because we learn from somebody else, that learn from somebody else, that learn from somebody else. So we are just, keep going with the chain. However, you can teach the same thing in a different way, which we're going to connect with your audience, because you're not a generalist, you're a specialist. So you're going to be relating to these people, so probably somebody now here hearing us here in this show, they're going to say, oh, I already listened to this, or I already heard this concept before, but it's definitely being put in a different way. So I think that comes down into how can you teach those things, or how can you share those things with your flavor, and then you're going to connect with the people. How many people came to us and they say, I don't connect with like a big person in self-development, whatever. I don't know. I always give the example of Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins is, somebody that he connects with a lot of people. He has a lot of business, but there are people that can't stand listening to him. So what I'm saying is, you're always gonna find people that will connect with you. So it's not because you're not there yet, you're not in Tony Robbins level, that you can't do something. It's actually the opposite. You're going to relate with the people that are closer to your story, that are closer to your struggles, that are closer to where you are. And then because you relate with each other, you can make magic happen, because it's much more stronger, when you are talking to somebody that is in your level, right?
Right.
Somebody that's way ahead, like way ahead. I still remember Velma doing one of Tony's course about money mastery, and he was talking about billions and trillions, that I don't have billions. So it was too difficult for me to manage my finance into the billions, However, when you do something, I did one with the barefoot investor here in Australia, it was way closer for me. So it was way easier for me to do my finances, to organize. So this is what, you have to find out, and in your strengths, you're going to figure it out.
And that makes a lot of sense to me, because I've always said that there are as many teachers out there as there are ears, because a different ear is going to hear something differently. And I love too, like what Matteo, what you shared about a lot of your videos are you in your bike gear, because that's where you feel comfortable. I remember seeing on YouTube not that long ago a hairdresser who does his videos out in nature while he's hiking. And that is so different from what other people do in his field that he's showing on YouTube. And it differentiates him, but it's part of who he is. And he loves being out there with the change of scenery and everything like that. So, what do you love? What are your values? Which is what I heard from you, Renata. And what are your strengths and weaknesses? And speaking through those, and like you said, sometimes what you think is a weakness is actually your strength, because I think I'm like you, Renata, where sometimes I think my chattermouth gets me, has people maybe going, oh, would you just shut up? But the reality is a lot of them are connecting to me, that I make them feel at home. Yes. Right? Like, oh, I like you so much. Here, let's keep talking, right?
Absolutely.
And I think what I see a lot from Renato is that people really gravitate towards energy, that energy, that enthusiasm, that excitement. So find your voice, find what works for you, what you feel comfortable with, and get excited, because people gravitate towards that. It's the best way if you want to connect with someone, is have that positive energy, right?
Yeah. And don't be afraid of what others are going to think, because if you are afraid of what others are going to think, don't even wake up in the morning. It's just too hard to think about all the different options. Focus on the good ones and stick to your true values and just go for it. The right people are going to connect with you. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, and that kind of, that points to, I know you guys have talked about this before in other areas, is that people pleasing can be dangerous, and I know this intimately because I am the kind of person, it's like I'm a yes girl. People will ask me to help them out with things, and I'm like, yes, I'm there, let's do this. And at the same time, what I end up finding is I can't please everyone, and it ends up draining me. And again, I end up in that fight, flight, freeze, or fawn situation where I can't serve anyone. So I think those are some really important distinctions for people as they're building their businesses.
100%.
Powerful,
Couldn't
powerful.
agree more.
Absolutely.
So we are actually, as quickly as this happened, at the end of our time. And I'm just wondering if you have any closing remarks or something really important that you'd love to share with our group and our listeners.
What I would like to share to your group is that if you are starting your business, or if you're already in business, you are feeling that things are not going the way that you want. I just wanted to say to you that you're not alone. We all go through the same things, even the ones that are way ahead of you. I think that there is not enough sharing of the struggles, and this is something that I often, when I go through when I get in a spiral in my head, what I do to get out of this is actually find somebody that can keep myself accountable. So if you're in this group, share with each other, reach out to each other. Don't be afraid, don't be embarrassed, or don't feel any shame about doing this, because ultimately this support is what's going to make the whole difference for you to do the next step, and yeah, I think that is encouraging, really, if this is something that touches your heart, because I'll tell you, and I'm sorry my French here, but the shit's gonna hit the fan. It hits for everybody. But if you love what you do, if you have a real purpose, if you're driven to that, if you know that what you do is gonna make that transformation in the other side, don't stop, because your success is somebody's miracle, is what somebody is waiting for you to become successful to help them. So it's an excellent thing to do. So keep on going.
And I will add into that, like, it's so important that when they say you need to be passionate about what you do, it's so important, because as Renata said, the shit is gonna hit the fan at some point. It's
always
inevitable.
does, for anything.
And
Anybody.
if you don't have that excitement, the drive, the fulfillment in what you do, you're not gonna last. So it's critical that you are passionate about what you do. So I just want to close right now with a quote, which is, the only thing that can stop you to achieve your goals is sitting here between your ears. Keep your head down, keep doing the work, and you will be just fine.
Brilliant. I forgot to plug in my computer. Speaking of stuff hitting the fan. Devastating. Awesome. Thank you so much for your time, Matteo and Renata. This was fantastic. I love the information that you guys shared today, and I love what you guys are up to in the world. And so I'm looking forward to interacting with you more inside of Heartrepreneurs with Terry Levine. And so for those of you who are listening, reach out to Matteo and Renata. Start connecting with them. They got some juicy information to support you. And for those of you who are listening on YouTube, head on over to Facebook. Join us at Heartrepreneurs with Terry Levine. We'd love to have you there. Thanks, everyone, and have a brilliant day.
Thank you.
Velma.
Bye.
Bye-bye.